This video is to explain how you can have faith in in the God of the Bible, let's say. Okay, so I'll start with like how you can have faith, like that there is a creator, and then I would go into like how you can have faith that this creator is the God of the, let's say, the Bible. Okay, so you see that the world that we live in has a perfect order, and then that wouldn't be the case unless there was someone that made it to be so. Like, for example, if you look at basically anything, if you just like don't create some order, then it would and maintain it also usually, then it would become a mess. Like there would be like the what is most likely is a mess, not an order, and then like there is a need for someone to make an order in order that it would be in order. Like, for example, in the case of the world that we live in, like for example, you have huge amount of space, like you have endless basically space, okay, and like you have in each point of space, each anything there, any molecule, anything that has any physical existence does exactly what it's told by the laws of nature, by the laws of physics, let's say, by the laws of nature. It does exactly what it's told. Yes. So it's like it's a bunch of laws that can take you I don't know how much time to learn, but like I think no human actually knows properly all of them. Okay, but even though each molecule, like some all-knowing genius does exactly what all these laws tell it to do immediately in any point in space, it's like obeys perfectly all the all the laws, like. And you have other things also, like electricity, for example. It knows by itself instantly to go exactly in the best way for it to go through to conduct itself, and like um, all kind of stuff like this in any huge amount, endless, let's say, amount of space, an amount of like particles and things like this, they all each one of a countless amount does exactly how what is it's told. That's just not what would happen if things were happened randomly, then each one of them would do some nonsense, and you think about it. One of them, let's say, take one atom or something, it decides to do whatever let's say it decided to do whatever it wants, you know suddenly it decides for no reason it wants to be like 10 in the magnitude of 1000 times, let's say, bigger or faster or hotter, then it would destroy, I think, all the universe or something like that, you know uh, um or if suddenly for one moment the laws of physics change to something else. I think even one of them, if it decide, in a lot of cases, it would in one moment it would destroy all the world. So, like, there is no good explanations for it, unless except that someone legislated those laws and did it in a way that out of some explosion, out of the Big Bang, all after all these laws are applied, then it creates all the without him even appearing, it creates all the world that we know, including us, and which is like so amazing thing to do that it's hard to comprehend, but like that's the only explanation. And then it's like there is some people that want to deny God would give you some, try to give you, the only thing that they can say against this, well, they can say some nonsense, but the only thing that they can try, they try to come up with some alternative reason and then pretend that they this that it doesn't prove that there is some creator, is that they would say, but maybe this is like a coincidence, but it's like it's not so unlikely because there is like an endless amount of other places or other universe where it's not like this, when there is some chaos, and we just happen to be in this one that is like this, because otherwise we wouldn't be here to notice it. And then it's like it's just one of all the other possibility where the things are chaos, and because this makes it possible for us to exist here, then this is the one that we are noticing, but the other ones also exist. But this doesn't explain, because think about it, yeah, we could still be standing here and still be alive and observing the world, even if there was some chaos, as long as it didn't wipe us out. And that's clearly not the case. Like, we could, for example, be still here and observing this reality if there was, for example, let's say once in a while, in some other place in the universe, or even in this world, things happen that are not supposed to happen. Like, let's say now the moon turned blue for no reason. Yeah. And then, you know, okay, so it wouldn't wipe us out, you know, we could still be here. Or the now, for example, all the some galaxy for no reason disappeared, or it I don't know what, it became it turned into a hamburger, you know, whatever. Like, it could be all kind of stuff happening that wouldn't wipe us out, and like we would still exist, but it doesn't. Instead, like, no one can document even one atom not doing absolutely exactly what a huge amount of complicated laws tell it to do, for even 1 millisecond. Like, each atom in the universe does exactly what it's supposed to do. Like, you and me could still be standing here if, let's say, for example, there would be now in front of me, let's say, the ground for no reason decided to once in a while, it would happen around something once in 10 years, suddenly some piece of earth would decide to turn into, spontaneously decide to turn into, I don't know what, like a rock, or like whatever, it became red and start floating for no apparent reason, and then disappeared. Like, you could still have quite a lot of chaos, but there is instead perfect order. So this explanation of, like, this is just where we are, because otherwise we wouldn't, like, be alive if there wasn't this order. No, because it's not just order enough to make us live here. It's order, like perfect order, you know? That's the first thing. And the second thing is that if this was random, then how come we don't see on this all these endless and other random, like places or universes? Like, because if it's really random, then what is to say that none of them would have things that are document possible to see, to observe from here, or that come here sometimes, but there isn't. Like, we're not experiencing any kind of endless amount of other universes, or I don't know what, like other possibilities of that are not this order. Like, if all of them existed, then they would also should be that some of them would, like, kind of ways extend into where we live, and would make this place also some chaos. At the very least, it should be noticeable in some way, but it's not. So that it's just not the case. It's just an excuse for people that want to not believe in God, you know. So it's like, so you can by this already know, even before you start reading the Bible, that there is some creator, that there is someone in charge of the world that you live in. And then when you try to think, okay, then how do you know that this is the same one that is described also in the Bible? The way you can know that, beside the fact that if you read it, to me at least, and think to a lot of other people, it just sounds real and like the truth, then like you can see that there is something there that there isn't in other places, which you have a long list of prophecies that came true, that can be actually proven to have been prophesied before the events happened and came true. And you don't have it in other places. There's probably some people claiming that there is, but if you look into it, there isn't. Like, I give you some example. You have in the Dead Sea Scrolls, all the book of Ishaiah is preserved word by word with practically exactly the same word as we have. Dated in carbon dating, and also like with linguistic analysis and stuff like this. All of this pointing out that it's something like some 250 years or something like this before Christ, like before the things about him that is written happened, which is around like, and before Christians had some opportunity to make it up, to become, before Christianity became really a thing and stuff, which is around 40 AD. Then you have all of the book of Ishaiah perfectly preserved there. And you have in Ishaiah prophecies, a lot of different prophecies about the Messiah. And you have their chapters, like for example 52, 53 and 52, like sound more like it's talking about him than about anyone else that ever lived, you know. And it's describing things like that, he saying things like he was pierced for our transgressions, but by his wounds we are healed. Like sheep or something, everyone went astray except him, or something like this, and that and he was led by like in silence to like without protest to slaughter. And what was it more? There is like 2 chapters there. It's all of it sounding like it's talking about him. That's one example. Another example, it's prophesied that he would be born specifically in Bethlehem, which is also in the Dead Sea Scroll, also documented without doubt to be before like 100 years, or too early to be after it happened. At least, probably a lot more, but at least probably hundreds of years. It's prophesied he would be born in Bethlehem. Yeah, no. Bethlehem, you know, Bethlehem, it's like it's like a village or something like this. It's a small place. Nothing else happened there except the fact that he was born there. So it's extremely unlikely that to guess this right, where exactly he would be born. Then there is in, I think, Micha, also in the Dead Sea Scroll, documented to be before, clearly had to be written before it happened, and documented to something like 50 BC or something like that, or earlier. Then it's like it says, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." How many people do you know that are called the sons of God that were called out of Egypt? you know. It's a very specific thing. Like, who would guess that? Like, that the Messiah would be like a, that he would be like that he would be, God would need to call him out of Egypt. Like, it's true that it's close to Israel, but still not many people lived in Egypt and got called out of there to be the Messiah, And okay, it's not saying Messiah, I think, in this prophecy, but it's quite clear that it's like saying something. I mean, it says, "Out of Egypt I have called my son," and it's like, he's the one that is most clearly, identified as his, something that is specifically his son. It's not saying like talking in plural about who would it be. It's not Moses, because it's like it's in Michai is like 1,000 years later. It's already way past you know the Exodus and everything. There is that, for example. And there is something else that you should need to notice, that all the prophecies that are messianic prophecies, even the ones that you can't prove in the Dead Sea Scroll that they were written early enough, the Jews have all those prophecies in their Bible. Think about it, what that means. Like, for example, Daniel prophesies exactly what year the Messiah would come, and when he would be, what year he would be killed, and he prophesied it exactly correctly 500 years before. Now, you don't have, I think, some of the words that prove that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but the Jews have those words in their prophecies. Do you think they would make up? Like, the only ones that will make it up is Christians, right? Trying to prove Jesus, that it was him. But if the Jews made it up, it would prove that they wrongly crucified, like, it's 2,000 years later. They can't now say it about anyone else, because it's like 2,000 years too late to be someone that. So this totally proves their whole religion wrong, because they do believe in the Messiah, and it says the Messiah has to come like 2,000 years ago. So it's like this, but they do have it actually written in there, definitively, exactly in the same words in their Bible. So it doesn't mean in their Old Testament. So it's like someone that is, let's say, is accused in court, and he brings evidence to court that proves him wrong and needing to go to jail or something like that. There's no way he would he would do that. The only reason why they would have that is that it wasn't a choice, that it's just there, since it was prophesied. They already had it all written down in their books, and they keep on every year copying it letter by letter, and then it's still there. Yeah, so that's so that, and you have some 40 something prophecies like that. There is one of them, I made a video about it, that got a bit not unnoticed, lost in translation. I made some video about it in First Kings 7 or something like that. Anyway, but like there is this, and there is also, there is things in Genesis that talks about the creation of the world that no one knew at the time that that Genesis was written. And you have things like, for example, saying about the Israel, or something like that, or about or clearly talking in a way about like the Jews or something like that, saying these people would come back to be a nation after they would be like exiled to all the world, and then would become rich relative to the surrounding countries, and would be saved from a sword. All of this in in the same chapter in Ezekiel 38. Like you have it in one. Who can predict something like this? Like, and it happened more than 2,000 years after it was prophesied. It came true. Like, and there is no other nation on earth that something like this happened. Like that, some group of people were exiled to and spread around all the world, and then came back and recreated a nation that didn't stop existing, and recreated a language that stopped existing, and then got succeeded in a place you think they would not succeed, and then would be saved from wars they were supposed to lose. Like, and so it's like, no one can predict that unless he's like someone that is like God, or that and there's some other things like about, for example, Babylon and some other cities. It was prophesied they would be wiped out completely, even though it was like the most important city in the world at the time, or one of them anyway. And then it's completely wiped out of existence. Now it's not on the map, and all of them are wiped out. That definitely happened a lot after it was prophesied, like 2,000 years or something after it was prophesied. It came true. Yes. Can someone just predict something like this and that it come true? Maybe one thing. If you make 100 prophecies, you get one thing right. Maybe, but can someone predict like hundreds of prophecies like that, and all of them come true, including things that are extremely unlikely? Like and then about like the Messiah, like, do you think he, just to prove the prophecies true, he made all of this happen to himself? Like he like tried to arrange that he would be, tortured, humiliated, and nailed to a cross and die just to make like that prophecy come true? Like, you think someone would do that? Seriously, no one would do that, right? And it's just one thing. It doesn't explain how, when he was still like a boy, he grew up in Egypt, for example, and or that he was born in Bethlehem, or that he was like uh, like all kind of stuff like that. That he was, why other people believed him, and why those people believed him, and then later spread this throughout the world. Even a lot of them were killed, and they had a hard time to do that. So yeah, that there is objective evidence. There is objective evidence that are beyond doubt, and beyond the fact that it just feels right and feels real reading it. There's also very, very, very like amazingly unlikely to be a coincidence evidence proving all of this correctly when you look at it objectively. But the people that are in all the high positions in the world, to succeed in this world, you need to be, to some extent at least, wicked. And then all the people that are like in the high positions, the people giving you like the entertainment and the news and the leaders and whatever, they're like they want nothing to do with all of this. Then they will not tell you all of this, and they would try to deny it. But like, if you look at it objectively, they don't have a single thing to say. For example, to what I said right here, they don't have a single thing that changes all of this. not a single thing. They can make up some lies, like they can come with some excuses, but really, like, you don't have any, in the end of the day, you don't have any way around the fact that you have hundreds of prophecies, there's a lot of them. There's no way to reasonable reason to deny that the or prophesizing came true. How someone can know all of them without being God, and you also have no explanation. How come every molecule in the entire universe does exactly immediately what it's supposed to do according to who knows how many laws with how many kind of you know and things like that, does it immediately. There is no explanation to that except that there is someone that is like in control of all of this, that decided it will be so, and that is the one that you think it is, which is the one that spoke in the Bible. And that the people, well, not all the Bible, but the parts of the Bible that he is speaking in, and that the parts of the Bible that he is speaking in, mostly through prophets, are like either all of them or like enough of it that you can be sure at least about the general message uh, is definitely what he said. Like, okay, you can say one verse might be like made up or something, but you get very clearly the general message that he is saying, right? Like something like that I am God, I created humanity, I, like, not me, but like he's as if him speaking, like that, like, and then like I created you similar to me and I want you to exist, but I have a problem with you that you don't do what I say and that you do things you that are evil sometimes, and I'm only willing that you would like continue to live and would really have no bad things happening in your life, and in the long term, if you don't like commit seriously to loving me, obeying me, and not doing evil. That's like the basically the message, right? So and be faithful to me and like things like that. Um, and to choose right over wrong and things like that. At least in really important things. So it's like there's no doubt that's the message, right? And then it's like anyone that knows what's good for him should listen to this and and do that.